going on, everyone? Baron and Mackenzie here from the Blue Dragon Guild. Today, we're going to be talking about our favorite team builds for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. While these may not be the most optimized builds, these compositions are what we think are the best.
These builds obviously do not count any multi-classing whatsoever, and it's for a 4-party build of what we feel would be the best. I had a fighter with being the battle mastery one of it because I love the maneuvers, Bard with the College of Lore, and the Druid from Ravnica that Dave played that I cannot recall what it is off the top of my head.
I believe it was the Circle of Spores.
Okay. And the Sorcerer, where it was the Origins one where you could use the Cleric spells and gain ability
the
to
Divine
use
Soul?
Yes, I loved that one. I went with the Fighter for the Battle Mastery because when I first got into 5th edition, I'd play the Fighter because I thought, oh, that'd be the most simplest one to play. And then I realized, with the maneuvers you could have Command Strike, Trip Attack, I did the Push Attack a lot. I liked having those little aspects of things to do, and I could be like, okay, the Barbarian is really close, so I'll have him go over and attack him with a Command Strike. It was just really neat to give your allies that extra chance to hit for more and do more damage. And I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, battlefield control, it's always important.
Yeah. And then with the Bard, with the College of Lore, that was one of the more recent ones I've been playing because I really liked using the spell cards from Dungeons & Dragons because it really just helps you not have everything written down, jumping between books, having book bags, full of books, going through, hey, let me cast a spell. 4 to 5 minutes later, okay, I figured out fully what it does, and then casting and still casting it wrong. So those have been super helpful. If you don't have them, maybe try to pick them up. Super helpful, and giving those more spells gave me, it didn't feel overwhelming with the spell cards. So I was like, I really enjoy this because I want to have that more ability to help allies, keep everything at bay, crowd control, and that was super helpful.
The Druid all around is a very good thing to have in a party. You have Wild Shape, you have a whole bunch of different spells. The Circle of Spores Druid in particular is fun, a lot to do with the Halo of Spores effect. Starting at 2nd level, you are surrounded by invisible, necrotic spores that are harmless until you unleash them on a creature nearby. When a creature you can see moves into a space within 10 feet of you or starts its turn there, you can use your reaction to deal 1d4 necrotic damage to that creature unless it succeeds on a Constitution saving throw against your spell save DC. That damage does increase. It increases to a d6 at level 6, a d8 at level 10, and finally a D10 at level 14.
I like that. You can use that, like I said, with the fighter to be able to push them into that space, maneuver your guy to move closer into their range to even affect them. So that's what made it super fun in those builds being put together.
Yeah, absolutely. In the Divine Soul, it gives you blasting sorcerer spells, cleric healy spells. Very, very good to have in a team. And not only can it blast and heal, there are several different utility spells that you can get between those two spell lists.
Right. That was my list. What ones do you have? We have not compared at all leading up to this.
We have not. My best team consists of the Battlemaster Fighter, College of Lore Bard, the Thief Rogue, and Circle of the Land Druid. For me, this is the team that has it and can do it all. The Fighter and the Rogue have melee combat covered. Between all the different maneuvers and the Rogue's sneak attack, they'll basically clean up everything on the battlefield. Between the Bard and the Druid, all the different spells that those two get, they'll be manipulating the enemies on the battlefield as well as the battlefield itself. With the College of Lore Bard and Circle of the Land Druid, those two both have an expanded spell list. The Bard at 6th level, you get the ability Additional Magic Secrets. At 6th level, you can learn 2 spells of your choice from any class. A spell you choose must be of a level you can cast, as shown on the Bard table, or a cantrip. The chosen spell counts as Bard spells for you, but don't count against number of Bard spells you know. Right. And with the Circle of the Land Druid, depending on which connection to land you take with your circle spells, you get so many different ones. The Rogue with the Thief subclass is one of my personal favorites. It's not a super technical rogue subclass as like with the Assassin or the Swashbuckler even. But once you get to a higher level with them, you get Thieves' Reflexes. When you reach 17th level, so you have to play for a while, you have become adept at laying ambushes and quickly escaping danger. You can take 2 turns during the first round of any combat. You take your turn first at your normal initiative, and your second turn at your initiative -10. You can't use this feature when you are surprised. So the amount of damage that you can deal out with that is insane. If the fighter goes after you in combat, there's so many different things that you can plan out with that. And along with the use magic devices with Rogue, basically it lets you attune to any magic item, even if there's a class requirement.
Oh, wow. What I really like about that is to give it the second turn -10, because it gives you that chance to be like, okay, I'm going to go hit it. Somebody should have a turn on your team before then to get within that 5 feet range to give you that additional sneak attack.
Or even the enemies moving around on the combat field.
Right.
So, Mackenzie, what are some other team builds that you've thought of?
Well, I was thinking, because it seems like most times when we play or other groups I've watched, when it's around 4 or 5 until it gets into a big party, they're always playing a different class. You don't see that very often. Multi-class, they'll mix in every now and again, but this is just straight single class. I thought, well, if it was that way, we could do a fighter, a bard, another fighter, and a barbarian. Have the fighters be different. Maybe have one be an Eldritch Knight or a champion, but make sure one of them is that battle mastery, because you can get them to be close enough, and he can control with the barbarian to get it up there to get more attack rounds in. Even switch it with Rogue. Learn more about that. That could work too. And basically having that where even if they get close to him, where you don't have a soft or a weak, spellcaster being a wizard or sorcerer. This guy can also have an AC, fight if it has to get close, or have that ability to control everything while keeping it as just one single class.
One of my other favorite team builds is the one for our Forgotten Realms game. We've got a Zealot Barbarian, a Fey Warlock, a Gloomstalker Ranger, and then Mackenzie here plays a Fighter Bard cross class.
It does not match in this order.
It does not, but it's proved to be a very good combination for our group build. Another team I like is the one that you guys have in my game that I'm running. You guys have a Sorcerer, a Barbarian, a Rogue, and a Warlock.
Yeah.
It's a little odd. You play the Divine Soul Sorcerer, which you really enjoy.
I enjoy that a lot. Having all that combination, like we stated earlier, with the spells of having it to be sorcery, having it to be from the cleric spell list. It gives you that mix, and it lets me be able to do the healing, and I'm just loving it, being able to play that.
Yeah, it's a very good class if you've never played it. Steve, I believe, is playing a Rogue, the Thief subclass, which I mentioned earlier. Chris is playing the Warlock. He has the Fiend Patron.
Yeah.
He's a Warlock of Orcus. And Tommy is playing a Warforged Barbarian, the Storm Herald subclass. You guys have been able to do a lot of fun, different little things. Steve is a new player, so he's still learning the ropes a little bit, but he's picking up very quickly. Yes. But you guys are having a lot of fun in that game, which makes me, as the DM, very happy. Mackenzie, what are some combinations that you would not want to see as a DM coming at you?
Oh, like what they're bringing power level that I might have to compete against?
Yep.
I would assume a lot, especially if it's a low level, to be like, hey, here's 4 fighters. I'm like, okay, well, that's not going to be too fun to go against. Even if it's like, hey, we got into it later. Here's 4 wizards. Be like, okay, those are some multiple of the same one you wouldn't want to see coming up.
Here's 4 School of Evocation wizards. Yeah. They all have Fireball.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Yeah, but no, I guess I haven't DM'd too much. But when I see stuff together, when you have, and they build them, and a lot of groups do this on purpose. And it's like, hey, we're going to have some long range, close range. And it's hard when you're playing when it's like 5 or 6 and it says, hey, we're going to have 3 close and we're going to have 3 far away. Because you have to plan and have to be like, okay, I have to put creatures in that can be able to attack them back there. or be able to attack up front, because it's so often, I catch myself as a DM, other people might do it too, whoever is directly in front of you,
that's who you're
every
going
time.
for. Yep.
Every time.
Yep.
And that's, if you want to play as the, well, I want to take this party out, or these guys are smarter. I mean, if you're playing, they're getting attacked by goblins are going to be like, okay, the 4 archers in the back are who are going to get first because their AC is going to be lower. They're not going to know that because, one, goblins have no idea what AC is. So that's not going to work. Now, I would play, with those, so it's hard when you get that mix. It's like you feel safer as a DM if you go, everybody's going to be ranged, everybody's going to be melee. But not very often are you going to, you can't hope for that, because most of the time teams aren't going to build that way.
Yeah. Now, with your group, it is perfectly fine to plan out your party. Get with your DM, get with the other people playing, and figure out, say, all right, you're going to play a fighter, you're going to play a cleric, he's going to be ranger, he'll have our backs, and then we have this wizard over here, so we have everything controlled.
But you got to think, it seems 9 out of 10 of our campaigns, maybe it happens with you guys too, your group knows each other in some sort of facet. They've already known, they've got together. They're not normally like, hey, here's 5 strangers in a bar to get together. I mean, think if you're going out on a raid as a party to go out and get glory, to take something, you either band together as all the same thing, or you're, hey, I need you because I can do this, you need me because I can do that.
Yep.
Kind of that mix.
Especially if you're playing in like a home game. If you're doing Adventurers League, there's a lot less control you have over your group composition, but that's okay because that's how Adventurers League is designed. So no matter what class you're playing, you always want to make sure you're having fun, because at the end of the day, that's what Dungeons & Dragons is all about.
So in the comments below, please leave the teams that you find the most fun to play with. Maybe you've played with 4 wizards and we just haven't tried it yet. Maybe it'll be something that'll be fun. Maybe there's a different setup you have every time. Just let us know. We'd love to hear it.
So, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Keep the dice rolling.